Today I will be sharing with you a brief description and my opinions of all of the different roles available on the Disney College program. So if you don't know what the Disney College program is, basically it's a semester-long internship at either Disneyland Resort or Walt Disney World, and through these programs, you are able to have basically a full-time job at either theme park. I was actually accepted for the Fall Advantage program for 2020, but if you were not aware, that program was canceled, which I'll link a video somewhere here or here somewhere about how that went. Due to the state of the world, this program has been canceled, which is very unprecedented, but I'm planning on applying to the Spring Advantage program for 2021 when applications open, so you'll follow me every step of the way through that. It's something that I always wanted to do as a little kid, and it's a very selective program, so I'm making this video that if you are interested in the program, or if you think you might be interested in the program, you can learn a little bit more about all of the different roles that you could be doing, especially because during the application process, they ask you your interest in all of these roles, whether you are not interested, have low interest, moderate, or high interest. So you want to know what you're signing up for. If you designate interest in a role whatsoever, you could get hired for that role, whether or not it's low, medium, or high. And when you get hired, or if you are accepted rather, they tell you what you get. So you don't get to say, well, I'd rather have this over this. You will get to talk to someone before they decide if you're accepted or not, so you can kind of speak about your interest in different roles and why you're interested in them. But just good to know. I'm going to go role by role and tell you a little bit about them, and also why you should or should not be interested in each one. And each one has pros and cons. So here we go. First things first, we have operations cast members, and the first one of those is going to be attractions. So attractions covers a wide variety of different areas. So attractions can be the typical Space Mountain, Thunder Mountain, the Mad Tea Party, all of those rides in any theme park, as well as parking. People don't always know this, but you could be driving the parking tram or doing the spiel on the tram, which actually sounds really interesting to me. Attractions cast members also, while they do different attractions in the park, it may not be the attraction you're looking for. So I would say the con of attractions is that it covers so many different rides that you don't necessarily know what you're getting into before you sign up for it. I was really interested in attractions. I think I put it as moderate. I would love to do like Jungle Cruise, but so does everyone. I'm an actor, I'm a theater person, so I'm very into giving spiels and stuff like that, and it has high guest interaction as well. The next position we have is convention guide. This position is a rare position. I would say, I don't know if I even saw anyone get accepted for convention guide for Fall or Fall Advantage. That doesn't mean they don't exist, but I don't know of anyone who did. So they help with special events. So if you attend Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, the Very Merry Christmas Party, or any of the festivals in Epcot, so Food and Wine, Flower and Garden, depending on the season, that's where convention guides can be. They also escort people, do crowd control, that kind of thing. I actually put high interest in convention guide. That sounded like something I would be really interested in. I did an 8-month internship at Visit Orlando and worked in their social media, so I'm very big into events and event planning, so I was really interested in that. The next role is custodial. Now, custodial seems to be a role that people are very divided on. I said no interest in custodial. The thing about custodial is, yes, you're going to be cleaning toilets, you're going to be cleaning bathrooms, you're going to be cleaning pretty much anything. So I won't go into the cons because I think we all understand the cons. But the pros are actually things that people don't realize. The pros are that there's high guest interaction. You are working independently for the most part, roaming parks. You have a large area that you can cover, and you're kind of able to do, I don't want to say do whatever you want, but you're able to roam, you're able to work independently. So if you're the kind of person that enjoys that, custodial may actually be for you. If you get queasy when you clean up anything, I wouldn't do it. The next role is monorail. So you won't be actually driving the monorails, first of all, but you're doing pretty much everything else. Any cast members that you interact with as you're entering the line, as you're loading onto the vehicle, if you see them talking on the radio to someone else, those are all things that the monorail cast members do. It actually sounds pretty cool, and I've heard of people in other seasons who did have monorail, and they absolutely loved it. I don't have much to say about it. It is very similar to the gondolas, but I don't have anything bad to say in particular. The next role is PhotoPass photographer, which is one of my high interest roles. There are pros and cons to any position. One of the cons to this position is that you will be standing outside potentially for long periods of time. You could be inside at a character meet and greet or at another location, but that's not guaranteed. So if you don't want to be standing out in the beating sun for 8 hours a day, do not put PhotoPass. The position itself obviously is taking pictures of guests, and I love the main thing about this is that you can make a lot of magical moments for families. So you're able to, if you're not really doing anything at the time, if you're taking pictures of a family, there's no one in line, you can do a bunch of different silly photos and make them laugh and all these things that I would absolutely love to do. You also work independently in this position. You'll be given a specific area to be in, and that's kind of where you stay. But you know, if you are the kind of person that doesn't want to work independently, then this may not be the position for you. There is opportunity to work with other cast members, like at character meet and greets. You're working most likely with a character attendant, but it's not guaranteed if you get this position. That's something to keep in mind. So the next position is the Skyliner Gondola, which is a newer position because the Skyliner Gondola is newer. The Skyliner Gondola is one of the newer methods of transportation around Walt Disney World, and it's a gondola system. It's very similar to monorail. You'll be greeting guests, helping people board onto the gondolas, all those kinds of things. So if you enjoy the monorail role, the Skyliner Gondola role probably goes hand in hand. The next role is watercraft, which I don't think I've put interest in, but as I learn about different roles, I absolutely would love to do this. So you could be driving watercraft vehicles, yes. You can also be doing narrations over intercom, you can be doing crowd control, all of those things. So kind of, again, going in line with the monorail and the gondola. They're just all separate roles. So you can't do gondola and monorail or gondola and watercraft. You have to pick one. But if you're interested in all of them, you can put interest in all of them, and then that's 3 different roles that you're interested in. The next group of roles are actually in entertainment, and the first one is going to be character attendant, which is pretty much exactly as it sounds. You'll be with certain characters, helping facilitate guest interactions with the characters, and so this seems like a really fun role to me. I put high interest in character attendant. The thing that I would keep in mind is that if you're not really good with like improv skills, or you don't like guest interaction, this definitely isn't the position for you. In the case that, you know, someone is not being so nice to Mickey, or pulling on Donald's tail too hard, you have to be able to stand up for the characters while still maintaining a smile on your face, and also knowing what to do in high stress situations. But at the same time, I think it's definitely worth it, because you get to see all of these magical memories, you get to interact with the characters. If they're not a face character, sometimes you may have to speak for Mickey or Minnie or Donald. Not that you're speaking for them, but just like, oh, Mickey seems to really love your ears. If Mickey's like pointing to the ears and the kid's not getting it, you can be like, oh, Mickey really loves your ears. Where did you get them? And the kid will be like, oh my God, I did this and this and this. And it allows for the characters to have more of an interaction with them. But at the same time, if the characters are having a good time, let them be. But those are kind of the opportunities that you may have through that role. The next role is character performer, which probably, if you were like me and you were looking in middle school at what the Disney College program was, that seemed like, well, that's the only thing I'll do. But character performer role actually it requires an audition. So when you apply for the Disney College Program, you can say that you have interest in being a performer, so you can be a face or fur character, but you have to audition. That's my con. So you have to they'll have different events throughout the country as the applications become open, and you will have to attend them. I haven't been to one. I plan on going to one for the spring, just to say I did it. But I've heard they're really fun. As someone who's done auditioning her entire life, it can be really scary and intimidating, but that's not really what this is, because a lot of the people who are at these auditions have never done an audition before. If you're considering it, I would definitely recommend it. And the pros and cons to that, obviously pro is that if you're interested in performing, that's definitely a con to have performing at Walt Disney World on your resume. The cons, again, hot Florida heat, depending on the costumes, those can be really hot, but high risk, high reward is what I would say. The next role is costuming, which is also a bit of a rarer role. I don't think I put any interest in costuming because I didn't know how to sew, and I probably should have put a little interest in it, but that's okay. I know for the next time. If you are interested in a role that does not have a lot of guest interaction, costuming is definitely for you. You still have opportunities to make magic for other cast members and things like that, but you won't have as direct of interaction with families and visitors and guests through the costuming role. If you're interested in sewing and fabrics and all that kind of stuff, definitely the role for you. I don't believe you actually need to know how to sew, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but you're handing out costumes to cast members as well as performers. But just a pro tip is any uniform that a Disney cast member wears is not a uniform, it's a costume. Whether they are friends with Mickey or they work in Tomorrowland at the Speedway, those are all considered costumes. So you are not just helping the performers, you are helping pretty much everyone. So the next group of roles are in lodging. The first role is Bell Services Dispatch and Greeter. I've seen a couple people with this role, but it's one of the less popular ones. So this is dealing with a lot of luggage, storing luggage, taking luggage out of buses, that kind of thing. A lot of people have said, from who I've known that has had this role, they've absolutely loved it because they get to talk to guests. It's a little more laid back in some ways than if you were like in attractions in the middle of the Magic Kingdom. It's a little more high, I wouldn't say high stakes, but just high volume probably. You also get to greet guests. A lot of times the people you're interacting with, this is their first steps in Disney. So that's just magical in its own right. So I don't know if I would be interested in it. I don't think I put any interest. But yeah, as I learn more about things, I become more and more interested. The next role is front desk. So if you are interested in working concierge, basically, which I put some interest in that as well. I'm a very organized person. I'm very fine with talking to people for hours a day. You also have to have kind of problem solving mindset, because sometimes people will come to you and be upset that their room is not ready, or that mousekeeping hasn't come yet, and they've come back from the parks and they want a clean room, stuff like that. But at the same time, you get people that are so excited to start their vacation and all that kind of stuff. So kind of a double-edged sword as well. So I would also recommend that role. I think I put high interest in front desk. The next role is house person, mousekeeping, housekeeping, all of that. So you will be cleaning guest rooms, kind of on the same realm of custodial. I wasn't as interested in housekeeping. If you are not as interested in guest interaction, though, that would definitely be a role for you. The thing that I mostly didn't like about the role is that you have to clean a certain number of rooms in a certain amount of time, and I don't like that kind of pressure. And I thrive in positions where I can interact with guests. So The next category is food and beverage, with the first position being seater. So basically you're host or hostess of a restaurant. So this will be mostly in the more sit-down restaurants, but you'll be seating guests in their tables and also resolving guest conflicts. So if you like interacting with guests, this would definitely be a position for you. If you've worked in the food industry before, it would probably also be a good position. It also mentions that you will be rolling silverware as well as kind of keeping areas tidy. If you're interested in being a host or a hostess, the keyword here is seater. The next role in that category is quick service food and beverage. Now, what I will say is that this is a very high need role. So if you're at all interested and you designate interest, it's very possible that you can get this role. A lot of people love quick service food and beverage. I'm just not as interested in preparing food. I do have register training, but it just wasn't my ish. But that doesn't mean that people can't love that role. So there's a variety of different positions you could be doing in the quick service food and beverage role. So you can be actually preparing the food, you could be up front at the registers, and there's a lot of guest interaction with this role as well. It's also nice that you are able to kind of change what you're doing and switch from the register to prepping food to all of these different things. So you kind of have something new every day that you're doing. The next group of roles is retail, and the first one of that is Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique and the Pirates League. So if you've ever seen like little children that go to get dressed up and get their hair done, that is Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. There's one located in Cinderella's Castle in the Magic Kingdom, and then there's also one in Disney Springs, the shopping district in Disney World. If you are really interested in interacting with kids and you really like that kind of role, this is definitely the role for you. It is harder to get, but I was very, very interested in it. I put high interest in Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique because I worked at American Girl for about 2 years in the doll hair salon, so I have plenty of experience interacting with kids and families and keeping them entertained. This is another role though that you kind of have a quota in a way that you can't spend all day with one child. You kind of have to keep it going, but you get to be a fairy godmother in training, and you really get to make these kids' day, because honestly, reservations there are generally the highlight of their day. Besides like meeting Mickey, it's right up there. So yeah, I would love that role. I definitely recommend it. The next role is merchandise. So if you are in any store at Disney, there's a potential to be there. Like attractions, you could be put pretty much anywhere, so that's something to keep in mind. You may be on the floor, you may be at the registers, you may be stocking. There's a wide variety of things you could be doing in this position as well. And you're also able to pick up shifts pretty much anywhere, which is something to keep in mind. Whereas other positions, like attractions, you can only stay at your certain attractions that you're trained on. In merchandise, you're able to go pretty much anywhere, so it's super easy to trade shifts with people. The next position is vacation planner. You are in one of the kiosks, basically, at the entrance to all the parks and around the world, around Disney World, and you are selling tickets to guests who may not already have tickets or who have any problems with their tickets, selling magic bands. You will be handling large amounts of cash, but you do get to be seated. I was interested in it. I think I put low or medium interest. Maybe it was just the sitting, I don't know. You also want to have a lot of knowledge about Disney World. In any position, you want to have a lot of knowledge, but in this role especially, people are buying tickets, people are asking you questions. For the most part, you could be someone's first interaction in a park, so they may have a lot of questions. So our last category of roles for the DCP is recreation. So the first role for that is going to be children's activities. So if you've seen basically like Julie the cruise director or someone at the resorts who is basically doing any children's activities, handing out snacks, doing games, all those kinds of things, that's what children's activities is. If you are not interested in guest interaction, again, probably not the position for you. If you're not interested in interacting with kids, probably not the position for you, but it sounds so fun to me. I had very high interest in children's activities. and I will be applying for it again. The second to last position is lifeguard. So they do provide a swim test, so if you are not a strong swimmer, I wouldn't recommend this position for you. But if you are interested in being a lifeguard, you could be positioned at any of the water parks as well as any of the resort pools. So if you're looking for a more laid back position, this is probably it. People who have been a lifeguard have obviously loved it. So if you're interested, I definitely would recommend it. I don't swim well, so I was not interested. The other con is that you are probably going to be outside for all of your shifts. So if you're not interested in being outside, do not sign up for this position. And the last role is recreation activities. Hi, it's Hannah from the future. I'm an idiot. I called it recreation activities even though it was the role I was assigned and hired for. It's recreation attractions. I've never called it recreation activities in all of my life until today, and I don't know why I did this. Carry on. So every time I say recreation activities, imagine that I'm saying recreation attractions. I don't know what's wrong with me. People don't talk about this role. Don't know why. When I applied for the Disney College program, I just kind of checked it off and I was like, yeah, sure, low interest in recreation activities. I don't know what that means, but sounds like children's activities, so I'll sign up for it. And it was the role I ended up getting, and it's this very, very small role. I was in a group chat with all of the Fall and Fall Advantage people for recreation activities, and there was probably like 25 of us. So that kind of says something. But recreation activities used to be lumped together with children's activities, and then they kind of branched off. So recreation activities covers anything from the marinas at the hotels to the water parks, so the water slides, to spas at the hotels, arcades, that kind of thing. Anything that isn't covered in any other role, basically. It also covers the mini golf courses. I was super excited for this role before my program was canceled. I also heard from one previous cast member, she was able to get her boating license, and she would take people on the pontoon boats and take them if they were for the boat package to see the Magic Kingdom fireworks. So she would drive the boat out so they would watch the fireworks from the boat, and she would literally take them out for like 2 hours, every family, and just give them facts about Disney and Disney World, and like give Disney history. And that sounded so cool to me. I was so excited. Obviously I have a lot of emotions about the program being canceled already, but that's a whole other conversation. So yeah, I would recommend that role if you don't mind being outside, if you don't mind a little flexibility, because you don't know where you are or what you're doing until you get there. So if you're like, I only want to do mini golf and not water slides, don't put recreation activities. But if any of those things sound interesting to you, definitely put it down, because people don't talk about it. And I was so excited. So yeah. So that is all of the different roles available. If you participate in the program, you could be in any of these positions. If you are applying to the Disney College program or considering applying, I wish you luck, and I hope this helps. If you enjoyed this video, or if you found this video helpful, please, please, please subscribe, like this video, comment down below, hit the bell so you get a notification every time I post a new video. I'm going to be posting videos about the Disney College program leading up to the application and through the application as I do my application for the Spring Advantage program, and I will be posting updates on everything happening. This is also keeping me sane during quarantine, so, you know, I wish you all luck if you are applying, and if you are not applying, stay safe, stay home, wash your hands. But yeah, you'll be hearing from me soon. Please subscribe, and have a great day.